now. Others include Lieutenant General Samuel Thuita will be heading to Israel and Paddy Ahenda, who will safeguard the country's interests in Qatar. Let's now cross live to Parliament, where Manoah Esipisu is facing the panel.
In the Commonwealth, where I served for 6 years as a spokesperson. I spent some time also at Reuters, the international news organization covering Africa. And of course, before that, I spent some time here as a reporter, covering countries including Britain. So much for the prelude. In my last post as Secretary of Communications and State House spokesperson, where the President nominated me and have endeavored to do the best I can to promote the image of the country. If I may say so, those years, coming with the experience I have had both at home and abroad, have given me clarity about what Kenya's interests are, the needs and hopes of the Kenyan people, which in many circumstances have been expressed in interactions with their leaders, like yourselves, honorable members, as well as our president. It is clear to me, as I'm sure it is to you, that Kenya must work even more hard, and we must work closely with its neighbors, our partners, and our friends if we are to achieve the freedom, the prosperity, and the security that the Kenyan people both want and deserve. If my nomination is approved, these are the interests I will serve. Let me, in closing, say a little about how I will defend those interests. Of course, Kenyans must come first. So their safety, their freedom, and their prosperity, Chair, are my causes. Those words have clearer implications. If confirmed, I propose to continue to deepen the work to the rights of Kenyan students, the rights of residents, and the rights of investors in the UK. The second matter that might profitably be taken up right away is economic diplomacy, which is one of the pillars of our foreign policy. And we all accept, I believe, that Kenya could do a far better job finding investors abroad, informing them about the opportunities here at home. Equally, we don't find as many opportunities for Kenyan investors abroad as we could do. Time, in my view, therefore, Chair, to rededicate ourselves to the search for opportunity for our people, born here and born abroad. Chair, honorable members, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Esipisu. It's just that you have not mentioned briefly on your past work, where you worked, very briefly.
Thank you, Chair. In terms of my work experience, I started off as a stringer, as a correspondent for the Standard newspaper here while I was in college, and from college I was recruited directly by Reuters, the news agency. I spent a lot of time at Reuters, a decade, covering Africa for the world, and specifically covering the key markets at the time, which was Kenya, South Africa, Nigeria, Mauritius, and Angola. So to that extent, I interacted with a host of African leaders, a host of African financial business people and industrialists looking to better Africa. And our job was to make sure that their work and their stories are told around the world. I also then went to the Commonwealth Secretariat from Reuters, my last posting having been in Johannesburg. I went to the Commonwealth Secretariat in London for the work of diplomacy, where I was deployed as Deputy Director for Communications and Public Affairs, the work being exactly to enhance what the Secretariat does, its membership, which is 54 members, including at least 18 from Africa at the time. And that opportunity gave me the interaction with Africa's leaders, with Africa's business people, as well as an interaction with a host of other leaders from around the Commonwealth. In that role, for instance, I helped the government of Trinidad and Tobago to host its Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in 2009, and I worked closely with the Prime Minister of Australia to do all the media arrangements for the 2011 Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Perth, Australia. From there, at the end of my 6-year term, I did not want to continue serving at that space in the time. So I returned to South Africa, where I had been offered the job to be Africa advisor to Business Day, which is an important newspaper there. It was about that same time that the African Development Bank then asked me to do broader multilateral work, because the bank serves a cross-section of Africa, and that's a job that they felt that I was the best suited candidate to do. So I worked directly for the President of the African Development Bank to expand knowledge and opportunity in terms of the access by the continent to the finances of the African Development Bank. And it was from the bank that His Excellency the President requested me to return to Nairobi to take up the job of State House spokesperson.
Thank you. I am also happy to inform you that there was public participation about your nomination, and we have not received any memoranda against or in support of your nomination. So no one wrote anything. So I now open to the committee. Mheshimiwa Koech, Mheshimiwa Kivai, then Mheshimiwa Memusi.
Thank you,
and
Chair.
Then just before you, if you have your original documents, including your ID, we'll be happy to see them, to have them going around.
Yes, sir.
Just take note of the three, members, and then you will respond later.
Like I said earlier, my name is Nelson Koech, Member of Parliament, Belgut. UK is totally corruption-free zone. And anyone who is going to be our High Commissioner there should, like Caesar's wife, be beyond reproach. However, Manoah Esipisu, I have a few cases here that some are in public domain, and some have come to my attention by mere fact that I'm in this committee, that during your tenure at State House as a State House spokesperson, you used your office to intimidate the heads of parastatals and permanent secretaries, asking for funding for activities that were budgeted for by the state. You received huge amounts of money running into millions to pay, for example, live coverage of the visits by top dignitaries. For instance, the visit by the President Obama, visit by Pope Francis, while the events were funded fully by the state. What do you know about its Ameritrade Limited, a company that was involved in the NY scandal? Do you think George Munji, a friend of yours, has something to do with it? Thank you.
I think members, because those are weighty allegations, they should have come in the right, procedural way, like a memoranda. So, Mheshimiwa Koech, if you say I'm in possession of this information,
no, Chair, I think it does not lie with you to respond. I mean,
I'm giving direction that that one should actually have been put in a memoranda. The public were given an opportunity to write anything about the nominees, and we may not have to respond to that one, because that complainant, if you say there was intimidation of civil servants, the nominee was soliciting funds, that should have been in a very formal way.
But I've pointed instances.
No,
Chair.
they don't. They really don't qualify. They don't meet the threshold. They should have. Whoever gave you the information, was given a chance to say during the public participation, and therefore, let's first of all go around. let's
then allow me then to ask another question.
Okay, fine.
Okay.